3,000.
What is doing? I hate doing it, but I'd like everyone to like, subscribe, share the content. Sharing is really important. If you like the content that I'm bringing you with the 3,000 podcast, you want to help us grow, make sure you do all that stuff. Follow us on Instagram, like, subscribe, share, do all that good shit. Now to the episode.
3,000.
What is doing? My name is Maloney. This is the 3,000 podcast. I'm joined today by an old mate and the very first ever 3,000 podcast guest, DJ Be Kind to Other People, aka Callum. Thanks for coming, man.
Hello, everybody at home. Hello, Maloney in the studio.
Hello.
How awesome to be in this space. We're finally doing it.
It's a real thing, man.
Episode 141. I was about to say 411, referencing the skateboard magazine, 411 video magazine.
And we had a great skater sitting in that seat just yesterday.
That's so sick, by the way. Can I commend you? So since we started doing this, since you and I started this journey, since you started the 3,000 podcast journey, you have obviously had 139 people roll through here.
100 and lots.
100 and lots. Oh, yeah, because sometimes you got like Mind Snare and you'd have multiple people in.
Yeah.
Love Mind Snare as well, by the way.
Yep.
Big on the hardcore thing.
They gave me that board up there.
That is so sick.
Andy Murphy hand drew. How sick is that?
What? Not Andy Murphy, the DJ. Another.
Yeah, not Andy Murphy, the house DJ.
Yeah.
Andy Murphy also goes by Salvador Nali. You'd probably know a lot,
That is
a
so
lot of
sick.
his artwork from around.
That's so sick. Yeah. To consolidate my thoughts, it is that I'm so proud of you and so impressed with this empire that you've built, and I only see it continuing to grow, and you have my full support, and I'm super stoked and super honoured to be on the show today.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I remember when I first started and I was like, I wanted you to do the first episode, and then we had a bit of back and forth. I'm like, I feel like this has got some legs.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that I would still be losing money 140 episodes later, but it's all part of the journey, man.
Fuck, and that's... can we just start there? Because that's Pandora's box, right? Of making art and losing money. Like every year I write in my journal, like, what's my intention for creation? And it's like, oh, I'd love to turn my art into like the sole thing that I do in order to subsidize.
As most creatives.
As most creatives do. You've heard of the Japanese concept of ikigai?
No, explain it.
Fuck, here we go. Please, if you're watching this, don't Google it. Know that I am the oracle. Your life should be the middle of the Venn diagram of things you're good at, things you can make money off, and things that will help society.
Okay.
There's a fourth one in there as well, but if you can manage them, if you can get right in the middle of there, that's ikigai, which will ultimately equate to like a long and happy life.
Yeah.
So
it makes sense.
And it makes dollars too, I tell you what.
Well, but that's the thing. I think so many people work a job that they don't love to then do something that they do love, which is fine. And that's totally normal.
Yeah, welcome to my life.
Yeah, but the balancing act is to find something that you do love that you can do. Then, as like I had Andy Boyle on the other day, photographer, has been living in New York for 18 years.
Yeah.
He goes, one job for you, one job for them. Right?
Yeah,
so you do
nice.
the corporate-y stuff, but then you do the avant-garde stuff. So
You're like a chef saying a little bit for you, a little bit for me.
Yeah. So and I think that's great. But obviously he's been working at that for 25, 30 years.
Do you reckon that's sustainable for somebody? So people, I want to put you and I in a similar category of just like very, like passionate creatives. Yeah. Do you think that's sustainable for us?
Well, I haven't found that balancing point yet personally.
Because I know you were seeking sponsorship and things like that.
I was thinking about it, and then I've just gone past that. I've got to the point now where YouTube is monetized, and so I could make money there. And I think that with anything, I see film clips where the people are putting out electronic music, hip hop music, rock music, whatever they're doing, just to get eyeballs on it is a challenge. Right? So if you give people an extra hoop to jump through, whether it's advertising or whatever, it makes your job even harder. So I feel like just keep putting the content out there, build the audience, and then think about how you might turn that into somehow. That's my idea.
No, I like that. And I'll extrapolate it on it as well, is I'm almost taking out the thought of monetization completely, right? Because it's like if you have enough, I have enough faith that like people gravitate towards like something that is made purely for the sake of of itself.
Yep.
And there's so much content, and I'm going to use the word content to differentiate that from art. So much content that's coming out where you can see that this is being made to further a career. This is being made to fill pockets. This is being made to put food on the table, which is totally noble, but then it's not really about the product anymore.
Well, some people reverse engineer and make the product to push the product, if you know what I mean.
No, what do you mean?
So some people make content to push their product. So the content doesn't come first, the product does. So they'll come up with a podcast so then they can push their beer or whatever it is.
Oh,
They're
shit,
doing
everyone's doing that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
see?
it's like that's like marketing 101 is, we're going to have put the podcast studio over here so then we can promote the
Yeah, see, they're doing it in the wrong capacity.
ethical.
So I feel like as long as you stay true to your vision and keep doing what you do, whether or not you make money doesn't really matter.
I think so too, right?
Yeah.
And that's, if you take off the impetus of making money, and then you're just making stuff, and you're enjoying making stuff, that's what it's all about.
But say you had some brand that comes along, right? Whether it's whatever. I know you don't like drinking anymore, but say it's a...
Unless it's a delicious cold Coca-Cola.
Say
Always Coca-Cola.
Say Coca-Cola or Red Bull or someone comes along, they want to sponsor Coburg Up Late. Then all of a sudden they say, hey, we want you to talk to this person. We want to talk to this person. You've got to have product placement. All of a sudden the reason why you do it is fucking gone.
Totally. And I definitely thought about like approaching Red Bull particularly, because I feel like of all the companies, they'd be the ones which would be the most hands off, because it seems like they have literally an endless pool of money and they just want to appear on all of the cool stuff. But then even then, just like I think of the aesthetic of Coburg Up Late and I'm like just imagining like a Red Bull fridge in the corner and it's fucking ruined.
Yeah, it's kind of, and then they can push you in different directions you don't want to go in, and then they can say, hey man, the numbers weren't hitting as much as this, and then all of a sudden you had this sponsorship for a period, then you didn't have it. And
Totally.
Then so just stay true to your drinking Coke.
And actually, because Coca-Cola is not sponsoring this, I have no qualms with saying this shit will kill you.
Is that your one vice now?
Coke. What's my one vice? So I quit coffee 7 months ago.
Yes.
So
Do you want to treat yourself to something?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mostly want to treat myself to coffee. That's the thing I want to...
But what, is that so bad for you?
Well, so alcohol doesn't feel like a treat anymore. Alcohol feels like...
Poison.
Yeah, it's like, I don't want that. That wouldn't make my life better in this moment. But I guess because coffee's still pretty raw, like I'm only seven months or so off. So the story with it is, and I'm sure a lot of people watching this would have a similar story with coffee because it's so highly addictive and incredibly strong, was I just started noticing over probably the last 3 or 4 years. So when I stopped drinking, which is 7 years ago, my caffeine use went up. I think just to like fill the void.
Occupy.
Yeah, exactly. And so anxiety also went up, sleep went down, but I also just noticed my little addict brain just started telling me to like, I started planning my entire days around where is the nearest barista.
Are you ADD though?
Hard.
I think, yeah, knowing you for a long time, I would have said that, right? So you
I'm diagnosed, but yeah.
But so you're not medicated?
No, which you could argue that maybe that was my medication in a way.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I signed up for the Cairns Ironman at the beginning of last year. I went through a breakup and I was just not in a very good way. So I'm like, didn't have my old coping mechanisms, which would be something like, I don't know, drugs and alcohol.
Yep. And
instead it was like, okay, well, let's look for endorphins and coffee. So I drank lots of coffee and did lots of training. And the plan was, and I couldn't quit the coffee until I did the Ironman because I thought I needed something to support me through the training. Mm-hmm. You know, I can't be kind of absolutely nothing, you know?
Yeah.
Because you need a treat. Like, think about when you've done something. You need to look after yourself.
Yeah.
So that was coffee. So I decided on the day of the Ironman, which was in July last year, I had my last coffee. I had like fucking 7 of them just throughout the day. And the next morning, because my body was just so confused after the 15-hour exercise extravaganza that I'd been on, I didn't really notice that I was going through pretty extreme caffeine withdrawal because I was also going through whatever the fatigue of doing.
How many coffees did you normally have a day? 2 or 3?
Yeah, 2 or 3 strong ones though.
Yeah, okay.
You know, like a shot of coffee I wouldn't really feel. Mm-hmm. I probably would now though.
Yeah.
But yeah, so long story short, I now have very, very, very few vices. Mm-hmm. I drink a tea a day, like a caffeinated tea. So I'm not trying to quit caffeine. I'm just trying to quit like the way coffee like kicks your ass.
Because caffeine isn't bad for you as long as it's moderated.
So. Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, and I just want to change. What do I want to say? What am I trying to say here? I think that cutting everything out seems a little bit too extreme. I think I'm not in. I think I can also be in like a healthy, happy place and probably reintroduce coffee sometimes. So
if you're out for breakfast or something, maybe you have a coffee one day.
Yeah, but dude, as soon as this is the thing, the slippery slope mentality, and my fellow addicts, you will all agree. As soon as you allow yourself, if I'm out, or just whenever I'm out for breakfast, suddenly you're going out for breakfast 7 days a week, and suddenly you're going out for breakfast when it's dinner time,
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, and that is true. I remember when I saw you said, oh, this is my start of the journey off coffee. I said to Jess, my partner, I'm like, Callum is like, he's not drinking, he's not taking drugs. He's being super healthy. He's doing heaps of exercise. Now he won't even have coffee. And I remember going, can't you let himself have something? I said that to her. Do you know what I mean? But like, it seemed very extreme to me.
Yeah, and you're right. I think it's too extreme as well. So my new goal, and I haven't worked out exactly how it looks, but on occasion, I'm going to have a coffee. So like over Christmas Day, I had a beautiful iced latte. Kicked my ass. It was the best. Yeah, and so
if that's the worst thing you put in your body, man, you're doing all right.
Thank you, man. Yeah. And also, this shit will kill you.
Yeah, but that's got probably more sugar in it than anything.
Oh, bro, I have so much sugar as well. So that sugar became a problem too. But I'm not going to cut out sugar because it seems insane to me.
Okay.
But there was a time when it was like a bowl of ice cream every night and probably a Coca-Cola every day. Now I probably maybe 2 of these a week.
Yep.
And 1 or 2 desserts a week.
So I found that when Jess and I did do Dry July a while ago.
As in July?
No, it's in a few years ago.
The Dry July of 1916. I remember it well.
Well, yeah, it was a few years ago. But when we did that, I was because I would just drink beer casually during lunch, whatever. Like I always just drink beer.
Yeah. You had 40 beers for your 40th birthday at the Increment.
And they had to carry me home.
That's impressive, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, I don't know if it is now. I couldn't do 43 this year, that's for sure. No, but so when we would not have a drink, I'd find myself craving sugar because there's sugar obviously in beer.
Yeah,
right?
man. I know that.
And so then all of a sudden, and I don't eat chocolate, and I was just
really
I don't eat sweet stuff.
Because your sugar is subsidizing the alcohol.
Oh, right. So then when I wasn't drinking it, I was like, I'm going to go and get some chocolate cake. I'm going to put some ice cream on it. And that's shit that I'd never do. 100%. My body was craving the sugar.
And can I ask, you never identified as a sweet tooth, did you?
Never.
Dude, same. And then I quit alcohol and it took no time at all that I was going like, wow, I could really go like chocolate or an ice cream.
Yeah.
And it's because of the high sugar content in booze, right?
And so even at family events or something, people are like, oh, we'll have a slice of cake. I will never eat cake or I would never do any of that because I'm drinking beers.
Yeah. And you don't feel the need. And you don't think, you're just like, I just don't like sweet stuff. But in the reality, you're kind of having dessert in a can.
Yeah, it's true, man. It is true. So I feel like you don't want to deplete yourself of all these sort of little simple pleasures.
Dude, I think so because life, God, it's going to get a little existential, Maloney. I hope that's all right. But like when you start cutting everything out, you start to like wonder like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, what is this for? You got to sit through the difficult stuff.
Yep.
It's pretty much like you just have to choose to like meditate because I don't know. We have these things and we reach for these things. And I mean all vices. We reach for those things when we're in moments of discomfort. So something I'm certainly proud of in my journey of abstinence is facing as much discomfort as my mind and body will throw at me.
Yep.
And I do find that there's a sweet spot when you push through that.
Yep.
Because it's not forever.
Yeah. But I think everyone's on their different journey for different reasons why they cut things out of their life.
Totally.
But I know some people that just try and go the whole hog. Like, I'm not having dairy. I'm not having coffee. I'm not having booze. I'm not having cigarettes. I'm not, eating the other. And I'm like, well, you're depleting everything out of your life. You're just making yourself like more depressed almost. Like,
I think so. You need a treat. The point is you need a treat.
You've got to do it gradually, don't you?
Well, yeah.
Or not?
I've got a friend who, who's quitting alcohol, drugs, and cigarettes all at once. I'm kind of been chatting him through it over the last few weeks, and I was like, dude, like you're making it very hard for yourself. Like I understand, like he's come up against like a bit of personal crisis, and he thinks, okay, it's all got to go, and I'm like, very noble, full support. Also, do you want to like pump the brakes? Maybe just like, I would never advise someone to smoke, but in this case, I'm just like, go and have a few ciggies, man.
Yeah.
Like, look,
and then
like,
we can
like,
look at cutting them out.
cut it out down the track, yeah. Because, like, I don't know, the body doesn't really know what to do when you take all that shit away.
No, and it's gonna put your body into shock, and it's also gonna leave your mind, because I feel like if you cut all that shit out, as soon as you do go and have one sip of alcohol or one cigarette, then you're all in on pretty much everything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're like, I've just failed at all of this.
Yeah, and it's so easy for you to just go, well, I failed in one, so I may as well fail at it all.
Yeah, it's just, I didn't, not that I'm not doing this, but if I was, I would slowly cut things down. Right? I don't smoke. There you go.
There you go.
Never got into smoking.
Hey, man, there's no judgment at this table.
No, there is no. But like, so when you talk about this stuff, you're just an unofficial role model for this guy who's just a friend?
Yeah.
Or is this not part of a program? Or
No, not part of a program or anything.
Did you do anything like that?
No, and that's a good question. You kind of, just to bring it back to what you said earlier, how like everybody's on their different journeys and everybody for different reasons. My particular journey was a cold turkey approach. I didn't fit. In 2 weeks after doing the Ironman, I did a Vipassana meditation, this 10-day silent retreat, and
that's hard for you.
It was it was way harder than the Ironman. During this Ironman, I remember doing the marathon leg at the very end, going, I would give anything to be sitting still right now. And it gets to like day 2 of a relentless 10-hour-a-day silent meditation, and I remember thinking, I would give anything to be doing an Ironman right now. Yeah. So super, super intense. Big thing that came up for me was, hang on, I'm losing my train of thought, Maloney.
Yeah. You didn't go through a program.
No, big thing that came up for me was like, holy shit, I was never an alcoholic.
Okay.
I was never an alcoholic, and I went through some personal stuff in my life. I removed alcohol, and what I realized in my meditation mid last year was that I removed alcohol because then I could blame alcohol for my problems.
Okay.
By taking out booze, I go, I'm fixed. I've done the thing. I'm now above it. Ha ha, problem solved.
Right.
But I've realized, and that was 7 years ago, I took that out and I thought that, but I've realized for 7 years, I've actually been repeating so many of the same mistakes because I didn't actually address the root cause, which was not booze. Of course, booze was exacerbating a lot of issues in my life, but it wasn't the issue.
Okay.
So I've kind of been on only since that meditation, which was 6 months ago or so now, have I actually started truly addressing like the root cause, which like goes back to being an overweight 5-year-old boy. And I mean, I can't believe I'm telling you this, but,
well,
but here
not?
we are.
Yeah.
I was an overweight 5-year-old and believed that I was inadequate to my friends. This was all subconscious. I couldn't put a name on this or anything. It was too painful to look at the time.
5's very young, though.
Well, incredibly young, right? And as a result of that, I remember this in kindergarten. Wow, we're getting so personal so quickly. I remember in kindergarten acting like a chimpanzee, like a monkey, and my classmates laughed, and that felt so good. And
I became the class clown.
Yeah, in that moment, the shame that I felt for being slightly bigger, and I've looked at photos, I wasn't even that much bigger. The shame that I felt for being slightly bigger, just disappeared. So then I clung to that as like a coping mechanism.
I'm the funny guy.
Yeah, it was my first drug.
Right.
Was attention. And being that young, it became my identity. And like fully informed my career path and like who I would turn out to be.
Wow.
And like that became my first addiction, and my addiction to attention became, I realized like I've always been a very, very compassionate and loving person, but like my addiction to attention would overrule that. And I realized it got in the way of many friendships throughout my life and, friendship falling outs, family stuff. And that was the root cause of my problems. It was not alcohol.
And this happened to you during a silent
meditation.
Wow.
Yeah, I traced back all of my problems to a 5-year-old boy. Wow. And when I realized that, Maloney, I'm just like, oh my God, I felt so light. So can I tell you how Vipassana works?
Yeah.
Have you heard of this?
No. But before we do that, right, I want to hear about that. But when you're going on this journey, you're going back. The first day's hard, the second day's hard, the third day's hard, whatever. You get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm going to just have to do this and go through my mental, back step. So you go back, no, I had that under control. This was okay. Until you get to your young stage.
So I guess the way you just explained it would be like I'm like intentionally working it out, but I wasn't. If anything, I was just trying to just sit there and just observe the feelings and thoughts that would come up, and like, the way Vipassana works is you feel sensations come up in your body. More often than not, they manifest as pain. Like you feel, because you're sitting completely still for an hour. Have you ever tried to do that?
No, it's hard, yeah.
Super hard. Super hard, especially if you have, so day 1, 2, 3, it's really, really hard. You learn how to do it by like day 8, 9, 10. And so this pain sensation is coming up. And what we typically do in our lives and in meditation is if we feel pain, we train ourselves to look away. Okay. But with Vipassana, it's don't look away and just hold your attention on it. And I just want to circle back to something I said earlier, which is like just on the other side of discomfort is salvation. Okay. It's just on the other side. Wow. You just have to go through it first.
And that's, people don't address their issues.
No, we don't.
And that's where trauma comes.
It's so painful to look at. And that's what therapy does. And in my case, Vipassana was incredibly therapeutic. So this is the woo-woo stuff that I can't quite put my finger on, Maloney. It's non-denominational. It's not a religious practice, but there was still something that was pretty otherworldly about it. And that was the link between whenever I would feel a painful sensation move up in my body and I'd look at it and feel it, and then it would dissipate and move out of my body without fail, and because this would happen multiple times a day, then I'd go out to the walking track, which is the only other thing you can do if you're not meditating, and without fail, I'm getting a bit emotional, without fail, you would feel that, you would experience and vividly understand like an old trauma come up that's been stored in your body, and you'd see it, and then it would leave your body, it would evaporate.
Wow.
And man, for 10 days, I was just experiencing all of these incredibly challenging moments in my life from when I was, as early as I can remember, it's like from 5 years old up until 35, which I am now, 30 years worth of memories and traumas and things that have stored in my body. And I cannot explain what the link is between like a physical sensation and then the mental memory. Mm-hmm. These things would come up and then I'd feel them and then I would be free of them.
Yep. And
it was so fucking insane. And in doing that, like I was able to just start to put little puzzle pieces together from my life. Mm-hmm. And that's how I could trace back like why I am the way that I am now at 35 years old is because when I was 5, I did not feel good enough. And so I overcompensated by being over the top, and then that came my personality, and then I am the way that I am now. And when I realized that, to tie the whole thing together, I was able to completely forgive myself.
Wow.
Because I've been holding so much shame about the certain ways that I've acted my whole life, and I was able to just go, oh my God, Callum, you're just this perfect little innocent 5-year-old boy and you just didn't know what to do. So you reached for the only thing that you knew, which was like getting some attention. Yeah. And that felt good. And that became your identity because you literally had no other coping mechanism. So I was able to forgive my 5-year-old self. Wow. And it's been a hell of a journey since then, because that was 6 months ago. And now when I notice old habit patterns surface, I can like recognize where that's coming from. Like, oh, that's just because, you used to feel pretty inadequate. And that's all right. And maybe I'll sometimes still say or do something I'm not proud of, but sometimes I'll catch myself. And if I don't catch myself, I go, hey, that's cool, Callum. I know where that came from. And I'm just refining the process of getting a little bit better at that every time.
Wow, man, that's incredible. And thanks for sharing. But is there a time to talk afterwards? Is there therapists afterwards, or you just have to go on this journey by yourself?
You're by yourself, yeah.
So you had to figure all that shit out by yourself in dead silence.
Yeah.
And when you're having breakthrough moments, it'd be hard to not say to the person next to you, man, I just had this thing and I get it now. Like,
totally. And God, and you know me. Obviously, I wanted to
tell them.
Yeah, actually, and can I also say, like, yeah, I've carried a lot of shame about ways that I've acted in the past, but I'm also really proud of so many other ways that I've acted in the past, and the way, the reason I am this like outgoing, gregarious, artistic, creative individual is probably because of that as well. Yep. So it's like it's a double-sided coin. Like I'm also proud of my personality, but it's also led me down some pretty dark paths as well. So yeah, of course I wanted to chat to literally everybody.
Yeah.
And the reason they say that you shouldn't is because everybody's having such a personal time, whatever that is, and there's no right or wrong way to experience it, is that you don't want to color somebody else's experience. Mm-hmm. So, imagine if, like, for example, you're just sitting there and maybe you're not having a breakthrough and you wish you were having a breakthrough. Then they're like, loud ginger dude that's been sitting next to you for 4 days goes, bro, I know why I am the way that I am because I was an overweight 5. Anyway, so on and so forth. So I do have some great friends that have come out of that. Shout out to Jess. Shout out to Jimmy.
And you obviously chatted afterwards.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I mean, everybody had pretty profound experiences. So I'd certainly recommend it for anybody watching at home. Vipassana is all over the world. There's one in every state in Australia. In Victoria, it's in Hillsville. It's really beautiful out there. It's totally free. It works on a donation basis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you can go out there and revolutionize the way that you look at your life.
Is it generally for people that want to discover where the trauma comes from, or is it people that are trying to fix vices, or is it for everybody?
I reckon, well, I would love to say it's for everybody. They do a mental health check as well, like check your stability, because it's super, super intense, right? Mm-hmm. So I can't say it's for absolutely everybody. I mean, I think of, I'd love my mother to do it, but I just think she'd find that super intense and there's no way she'd ever put herself into that kind of environment. So I understand. I think everybody would benefit from it, but I don't think everybody should do it.
Okay, yeah. Because, for some people it might awaken some stuff that they're not ready to handle and that they've pushed so deep down that their coping mechanism is the best way that they're going to function.
Totally. And in the same way that, like, I'd probably say the same about, like, psychedelic assisted therapy, like people doing mushrooms. It's like, man, I'm sure that that's really good for lots of people and probably not for others.
No, man, there's definitely people that I don't think mentally can handle that sort of stuff. Even when it comes to smoking weed, I never got into it because it just wasn't for me.
Same.
I don't like that sort of stuff.
I tried. I remember that this joint is the joint where I don't completely flip out and think the world's trying to get me.
Yeah.
No, this one too.
It just didn't do anything for me. So I'm like, I just don't need to do it. But everyone's different, man.
Yeah.
And then there's some people I know that need weed to function, or they believe they do, whatever. Like, it's not me to say.
Totally.
Everyone's different, man.
That's it, man.
But you can't speak more highly of that practice for you personally.
Really good. Really stoked I did it. I was in a,
Did someone recommend it to you?
Yeah, multiple people. I 2 of my previous partners have done Vipassana. One of them's done it like 4 times. I remember the first time I heard of it, I moved into a share house in Fitzroy North about 10 years ago. The fellow I moved in with, I want to give you a shout out, but it's quite a personal story I'm about to tell about you, so I'm not going to say your name. But you told me that you'd attempted this Vipassana thing multiple times, but just like got a few days in and just kept running away.
Oh, and that does happen?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So 50 of us did it this time. It's constantly happening, by the way.
Right.
It's constantly happening. So 50 of us did it, and 46 people came out.
Right.
So 4 people just like...
It's not a bad strike rate.
Yeah, I mean, well, what is that? 92% or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and you can see why, like, you get to the end of, like, day 1, and you're like, this is so not for me. I should not, like, sitting still for an hour is hard, let alone 10 hours times 10.
Yeah, but I guess you have your moments where you think, okay, you see the light at the end of the tunnel, you have your breakthrough moments.
Yeah.
But I think for anybody with an active mind like we both sort of have, that is an extra challenge. Some people are more calm and they can get to it. I was talking to Jaff yesterday. He said that he doesn't meditate, but he just chills, doesn't listen to music. He just kind of sits there and just thinks. But that's his sort of version of meditating.
Totally.
Everyone's different.
I reckon you and I would... Because we have more active minds, that's probably why meditation would be really good for us.
Yeah. I've tried, but it's fucking hard.
It's fucking hard, man. And just go back to the theme. This could be a theme. I'm really trying to pigeonhole a fucking... I'm strong-arming a theme in here. It's just on the other side of discomfort is breakthrough.
Yeah. So do you think now that your relationship with all those substances and all those issues, it's always going to be there, but you're just in control now?
Well, so like obviously a big part of the meditation was realizing that I think I was always in control, and quitting alcohol was my way of by blaming alcohol for problems that were already very, very deep seated.
Yep.
So it's quite liberating to realize it wasn't alcohol, but then there's a new burden, which is like, no, mate, this is your problem, and you've got to deal with it.
Yeah.
So,
because you could. So the attention stuff, the being the
that's the driver.
Right.
That's the driver.
And then when you were drinking or whatever,
they just make it worse.
Yeah. And then you could be like, oh, but I was pissed, and so
exactly. Always blame booze. Yeah. So yeah, it's been liberating to bring the responsibility back on me, but it's also meant I've had to do the work. So I'm doing the work, which is never done, and so I realized I could actually start drinking right now if I wanted to, But I'm like, actually, it's been so long, and I thoroughly enjoy the direction that my life has been moving. Without booze, I think I'm just going to continue not drinking.
Yeah, and that's fine, man. And look at how many people continue that lifestyle now. It happens a lot now. It wasn't very prevalent 15 years ago.
Yeah, when we met.
But yeah, but when...
I believe I was falling asleep, standing up, DJing at Mother's Milk.
No, but when 20 years ago, people that just didn't drink were obviously, you're the designated driver, or people thought you're a bit weird. But now a lot of people... No, it's true.
Yeah.
But now...
People, for the record, people still think I'm a bit weird.
But yeah, it was like, you were like, if someone didn't drink, you're like, what's wrong with that guy? But now, so many people, and people that have had different relationships with alcohol, whether, they've had alcoholism or whether they just don't enjoy that stuff.
Yeah.
Cut it out, and they get along with their life, and they good on them, It happens now. It's normal now.
Yeah.
Do you get on the zero alcohol beers?
Fucking love them.
Yeah.
Where's my zero?
Yeah, I know. I need to get a zero alcohol. I don't have any beers here at the moment.
Yeah. Were you looking... when we started, were you looking at beer sponsorship?
Yeah, I've kind of got one now that's unofficial, but...
Are we allowed to say their name?
Yeah, well, yeah, we can.
No, we don't.
No, well, Heaps Normal did say that they would, but I haven't followed it up. I'm really bad at emailing.
Which is amazing, because you've managed to get 140 plus guests into the...
Just with Instagram.
Are they all coming down to Dramana? Yeah. I was thinking that when I was driving here. I'm like... I'm not the only person that is driving a very long way to be here.
No, people have come from interstate, all sorts of stuff.
That's so sick, man.
Yeah,
I'm so fucking stoked for you.
Yeah, it's good. But it sounds like it's a long way away. It's an hour out of the city, and it's a nice drive. And when you get here, you're like, oh, it's cool. And then people get it, man. They sit here and they're like, oh, I understand now. It's like it feels like a good space. People can smoke if they want to drink.
I see you got the deck set up.
We've got that. Yeah, I need to get one of the.
Do you have a sound system in here?
Yeah, we've got a couple of JBLs up there.
It looks great in here.
It's getting there. I need to tweak it a little bit more, but anyway.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your DJing, man. Obviously, we've sort of touched. We'll talk about the show, but let's talk about your DJing. So since you started the show, you've been DJing under a different name, which we talked about the last time. But that is now your DJ name, and I see you're doing a lot more sort of like headline gigs and that sort of thing, man, which is cool.
Yeah, it's cool, man. Actually, last time. You asked me a great question, which was like, has doing Coburg Up Late influenced or informed the caliber of DJ performances that you are getting? And certainly, I think my answer at the time was like, yeah, I'm starting to notice, like, they're starting to roll in. And now it's kind of at a point where it's like, well, I don't know, how do you say this without sounding like your head's up your own ass? But like, people respect me as a DJ, which is so fucking awesome. I'm really stoked. I mean, like, I'm down on the Ninch right now because I'm headlining at the Bay Hotel in Mornington for Flashback. So we're doing I'm doing a 2-hour set of just house music classics from 15 years ago, which is that's the period of dance music that I got into. So I'm really stoked to be playing like all of that old stuff.
Yep.
I've been loving it. I played a great festival. Shout out to the Rising Sun crew. I played a great festival last weekend out in Balan on the way to Ballarat.
Yep.
Opened up the main stage on the Sunday and played the music which I love, which is really deep, emotional, progressive house music.
Yeah.
And I'm going to drop it. I'm DJing on a beach in Croatia in July at Balance Croatia.
Awesome.
Which is, have you heard of this festival?
No, but I've been to Croatia.
Have you?
Yeah.
So I've never been to Croatia, but I saw this. This is a sick story. Can I tell you what's going on this year?
100%, yeah.
All right. I saw the best dance music lineup I've ever seen hit my news feed. I was eating Thai food on Sydney Road, just having a cheeky scroll, and I was like, whoa, Guy J, Hernan Cataneo, Nick Warren, Patrice Baumel, Sebastian Leger, all of the big dogs in that world. And I'm like, man, they're all at the same event. That's crazy. And then I saw it was for Balance Croatia. Balance is originally a Melbourne-based record label by this guy named Tom Panzik. Now it is one of the, if not the leading progressive house label in the world.
Right. And he moved over there.
He's actually still in Melbourne.
Right.
But he runs an international label.
Uh-huh.
And it's based from Melbourne. So he's actually a great person to get on the show.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'll chat to you about that later.
Yep.
So I saw this amazing lineup. I'm like, well, I would fucking love to go to that party. 3-day beach festival in Croatia with all of these amazing, my favorite artists in the world. I'm like, love to go to the party. Here's a few reasons why I can't currently. I, as a sober person, could not justify going all the way to Croatia to party for 3 days. I'm telling you, man, like when you remove drugs and alcohol from the equation, it just doesn't sound as tantalizing.
Yeah, but you love the music.
I absolutely love the music, but I was just like, geez, but the drugs and alcohol would certainly sweeten the deal if I was still at that point in my life.
Yeah.
But now I'm just like, just flying there for like loud music on speakers. Like, oh, that's a lot. Secondly, I couldn't justify going on my own. Like going 3 days at a festival and not, like I knew people that would be there. Yeah. I have some friends that are DJing, shout out to GMJ and Matter. And I was like, I mean, that could be cool. And I remember like messaging Matter, who also lives in Coburg, being like, oh, hey man, I felt like the most hanger-on kid ever. I'm like, hey man, saw you playing in Croatia. I'm thinking about getting a ticket. And if I come, can I maybe like stay near you or something? Because I was like, I don't know, like in my like little vulnerable moment, I was just like, I don't want to go all the way to Croatia and just be like hanging out in a hotel room by myself and then like, gonna go watch some music today and do that 3 days in a row and then fly home. Actually sounded kind of depressing.
Yeah, but you'd meet people even. You'd meet other people there.
Yeah, you're right. And so I was like, okay, well, there's that. But then the last one was, okay, well, if I couldn't justify just going for that, I wonder if there's any endurance events happening in Europe at the same time. So I hit Google and I saw that the weekend before in the mountains of Sweden, which is not close to Croatia, but closer than here, there's a 100-kilometre ultramarathon running 3.3 kilometres of elevation gain up and down that takes place over 18 hours in midsummer Sweden, which means 23 hours of sunlight. Wow. And so I'm like, and they've got the 100K option and they've got the 46K option. Now, I've run 50K before, so I'm like, 46 is like, that sounds really intense, like so fucking intense. Like in a mountain, that sounds extreme and intense. But I'm like, I reckon I know I could do that. And then I was just that 100, I'm just looking at it and it was calling me.
Wow, so I just 100K.
Just signed up for the 100K.
Wow.
So I'm like, all right, I've signed up for the 100K. I'm like, oh, that means I'm going to Croatia. Sick. But I'm like, Maloney, as I said, I also don't want to go by myself. So I'm like, what can I do? What can I do? Did you ever meet Fionn on Chapel Street?
Fionn.
Irish bloke. He managed Mother's Milk 10 years ago.
I would have.
Yeah, you definitely would have. Anyway, he and I used to work together at Hoo Ha on Chapel, across the road from Yellowbird. Shout out to Clint Heidemann, former guest on Area 3.
Speaking of Clint today, actually.
Well, actually, I fucking love that guy.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
I've rolled out a revolver into Yellowbird and just like chewed his ear off.
He's another guy on a sober journey.
Is he?
Yeah, man. It'd be almost 2 years.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's cool.
It's not good for business. His business partners doesn't like him talking about it. It's true. He's like, they won't let me talk about it.
No, I get it, because he's selling booze. Yeah.
That's it.
It's funny. And like, I'm a DJ and I'm like, come on, let's have a healthy lifestyle and literally working in hospitality establishments where the business model is get the DJ in so people buy more booze.
Good, yeah.
Side note, so I'm like, okay, I knew this is my mate from Dublin. Mm-hmm. He lived in Melbourne 10 years ago and this was around the time of his 30th birthday. We ended up living together in Paran. We partied together. We had this amazing life. We called our house Dart City because you'd smoke darts in it. And there was a month there and it was like the summer of love where his mate Al, also from Dublin, flew over and lived in our house with us for a month. And Al and I fell in love. Fionn and Al fell in love. 3 of us fell in love. We were just like this inseparable trio of very, very naughty boys that were going to the Windsor bottle shop at all hours and having the most amazing time. I remember just as the day Al left, like I had to go to work at Kin on Chapel Street. Yep. I'm trying to drop as many Melbourne references as possible. And I didn't want to be emotional because we'd had a big night the night before. So I just said, see you later, mate. And like gave him a quick hug and I walked down the hall and then he goes, hey, Carl. And I go, don't do it. And I just turn around. He's like, come here. And we had the most like beautiful teary hug and it was absolutely incredible. And I love that man. And I remember thinking, Fionn and Al are in Dublin. I reckon I can convince them to come. So I messaged Fionn. He didn't get back to me. What? Called Al. He's like, oh, mate, just about to have our second child and I'm trying to buy a house. So, like, I'd absolutely love to, but I just don't know if it's in the finances. And I'm like, totally understand, leave it with me. So I hang up. And I just bought 3 tickets to Balance, Croatia, and then bought a little villa on the festival site where 500 meters from the beach in one side, 500 meters from the stage on the other, and just called him back. And I'm like, so what's the deal with Balance Croatia? And he's like, yeah, as I said, I can't afford it. I'm like, well, all you need to afford is an EasyJet flight to Croatia because I've got your tickets and accommodation. And then there's this pause, and then he goes, the boys are fucking going to Croatia, baby! So, okay, so now this plan's really getting into motion, right? You can hear. So we've got 100-kilometer ultra marathon. I got 6 months to train for it. Then we're going to party on the beach for 3 days, listening to the best fucking house music.
They're not on a sober journey, I'm guessing.
They are not on a sober journey.
So that's going to be a challenge for you because you guys had that in common when you all lived together.
Yeah, absolutely. There could be a little bit of this and that.
Bit of arm twisting.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't go that far. Let's see. And so the group chat's firing off. We're getting really excited. So at this point, I decide, Maloney, to message my friend Tom Panzik, who is the owner of Balance Records.
And you know him personally?
Just through the show. Okay. I just met, through doing Coburg Up Late, that's kind of expanded my dance music network. And I just messaged him because I just figure if I start messaging this man now, just let him know, and then we can hang out on a beach in Croatia in 6 months, and that's going to make the experience even more special. And he writes back, Croatia Up Late. And I'm like, what's this all about? And he goes, hey man, so stoked you're coming. Thanks so much for grabbing some tickets. Love to chat to you about doing some content for the show.
Amazing.
And I'm like, doing some content for the festival. And I'm like, yes, sounds good. And he's like, if you've got a chance, I'd love for you to speak to my business partner, Walter Wan. Shout out to you. And so I had a night to think about it and chatted with Walt the next day, and he's like, yeah, well, let's do some content for Balance. What would you like in return? And I'd had a night to think about it, Maloney. What do you think I asked for?
A set.
Bingo.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, I'd love to, but can I DJ the festival? And he's like, whoa, not expecting that. And, it's a pretty special lineup. I'm like, totally understand. I reckon I can make some pretty special content. And he's like, leave it with me. Get a text message the next day saying, well, you've got a 2-hour DJ set opening up the beach stage on one of the mornings.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's so amazing. And he's like, honestly, that's a really great set because in the mornings during the day, that's where everyone is hanging out. So now I'm also DJing at this event with my heroes.
Yeah. You got to bring those beach vibes, early morning vibes though.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so I got 2 hours. So I'm thinking 45 minutes of progressive down tempo and then just start ramping it up a little bit. And I struggle to not play a headlining set wherever I go. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to do a warm-up, but I think a festival is a bit different to a club where you kind of can get away with doing a bit more of a headline-y set.
I love the way you could have probably asked for €2,000, but you just said, give me a set.
100%. Thank you, man. Well, can I also say that €2,000, €10,000 couldn't buy me the experience that DJ set.
And your name's on the flyer and everything?
It will be, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So
exciting,
this is the announcement.
When is this happening?
This is last weekend of July 2025 is the run.
Yep.
First weekend of August 2025 is the festival. And have you heard of the techno DJ Victor Ruiz?
I have.
He was a former guest of Coburg Up Late, and we struck up a great friendship during his episode. I love that episode because you actually watch two people falling in love. It's really nice. And so I just messaged him. I'm like, man, I got 3 weeks of leave from my work. So I just messaged Victor and I was just like, hey, what are you doing on the 11th of August, which is the day Balance Croatia finishes? And he's like, bro, it's my birthday. Come to Lisbon. I'm like, deal. I'll see you there. Wow. Yeah, so I'm going to hang out with Victor Ruiz for a week.
That is close.
Yes, that's actually close.
Close, yeah.
Yeah, so I booked this banging Airbnb, looking over the bay, a couple of minutes walk from Victor.
Amazing, man.
Yeah, so I've got this nice little beacon in the middle of the year. 3 weeks to look forward to. And between now and then, train my fucking ass off.
100Ks is a lot.
100Ks, yeah, in a mountain. So I need to go. Basically, I've made a training plan every 3 weeks for the next 6 months. I'm going to go to the Dandenongs or Warburton and just any place with hills and just go.
Big hills just behind here.
Should we come back for episode 3, mate?
Maybe, yeah, just before you go. There's some great running tracks.
Yeah, you can come and check me then. I might look a little bit more gaunt.
Yeah. Well, man, you're looking very fit at the moment, though.
Thank you. That's what the Coca-Cola is, just to balance that out.
Yeah, but it's 100Ks. That is huge. That is running from here back to Coburg.
Yeah, that's fucking insane.
Think about it like that.
I know. Well, because when I was training for the Ironman.
That's more than that.
When I was training for the Ironman, I used to ride to Dramana and back. And I'm pretty sure I think it's 75K to Dramana.
There you go.
So
you'd be going from here to Portsea or something. From your place?
My place to Portsea. And that's flat. So it would be easier to run from my place to Portsea than it would be to run in Sweden. So yeah, got my track. But dude, that's why I signed up for it.
Yeah.
As I said, I was in a not a great mental health space when I signed up for the Ironman. And then I had 6 months of heavy training. I was working 4 days a week. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday was Friday, do a long run. Saturday, do a long ride. Sunday, do a long swim. And I just kept that up for 6 months. And man, it fucking sorted my head right out.
Yeah.
It's the best thing I could have done. And I would recommend that to everybody. That's something I would recommend to everybody. You know, we're talking like, but you know, like psilocybin therapy or Vipassana, not for everybody. Exercise is 100% for you. Absolutely.
Yeah. Everyone should exercise. And we all do when we're younger. And as you get older, people just become, they get busy and whatever. But
totally.
You need it. Even if you just ride your skateboard around or just shoot the basketball, just do something.
Hell yeah. Movement's the key. And whenever I'm in those like sticky existential moments where I'm just like, where's the thing that I put into my body? Which I have that thought all the time, especially mornings when it's like coffee time. Go for a walk.
Yeah. It's interesting, like, because even when you were, say, like 5 or 6 years into the sober journey and you're still having some, like you said, sort of mental health issues, do you think, well, I've tried
That's
to
extreme. I wouldn't say mental health issues, but moments, for sure. Yeah.
Which everyone does.
Yeah.
But do you think and you're like, I've cut everything out and I still don't feel that clear-headed, have I made the right decision? No, does that go through your head?
Definitely, man. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I don't think abstinence will ever, like, make things perfect, but it just, like, will take... abstinence for me is just like the great equalizer.
Yep.
So yeah, my life is so much more stable, right? But like with drugs and alcohol and sugar and coffee, there's not only are there more downs, but there's also more ups. Mm-hmm. So you have to learn to say goodbye to the ups, which sucks because ups are awesome.
But just live on that level.
You just live on that level and it's a very, very comfortable and sometimes boring place to be. It's honest. It's just true.
Safe.
It's safe as fuck, yeah. And I now in my 36th year on this planet, I'll take that any day for sure.
And yeah, it is something that a lot of people do as they get a little bit older, go nuts in their 20s, get to their 30s, and you're like, oh, hang on a second, I've done a lot of risk-taking, stupid behaviour, and I could have killed myself, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I reckon I cringe at the times when I've probably come pretty close by accident.
Yeah. And riding on the back of the tram, I used to do that down Chapel Street. If I missed the tram, I'd just jump on the back, and because I lived down there.
Oh, yeah,
just
dude.
shoots like that, and then you wake up the next day, people will be like, oh, hey, man, I got footage of you on the back of the tram, and I'm like... I don't remember.
Shit.
You know what I mean? I'm trying to ride my skateboard down and just,
I've held onto the side of like a Connex tram on my train on my skateboard, and just like it's like starts to pull me towards the train, and like I lose the board down the middle. I'm like, man, that was so close.
Yeah, it's bad times. But you need to go through this stuff to then realise that it was stupid.
I reckon so. Well, that's debatable. It's clear that you and I both did.
Yeah.
I'm glad that touch wood, we've come out unscathed.
Well, I think I'm not justifying the stupid stuff that we probably did in and around Chapel Street of that area, but doing it in your 20s and early 30s is the right time to do the stupid behaviour, because I feel, and this is from my personal people that I know in my life that might be a bit older, if you don't live your life stupidly in the early days, you can have a midlife crisis,
and you might do it later.
No, it happens a lot.
100%.
A lot of people that potentially get jobs really early, jump in, get a mortgage, whatever, then they have a marriage breakdown, and they end up getting on the Persian rugs.
Absolutely.
In their 40s, and that's bad.
Well, like, I mean, you could go like ad nauseum. You could say like, the most reformed people are the ones that are like have come out of prison. Like they're the ones that have like found God and like are really helping the world. Or like, I mean, I can use myself as an example. Like I feel like I'm in such a great place in my mind, body and spirit because of the lows that I've been through. And I think that anyone who's truly experienced lows, that's given them the impetus to change their lives and make their world and the world of others a better place.
It makes you a more well-rounded person.
I think, well, yeah, I guess so.
Imagine trying to tell somebody, oh, the booze is no good for you if they've never ever touched booze and they've never been through that experience.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just doesn't hold any validity.
Yeah.
But if you've been through it, you can be like, hey, it may not work for you, but it worked for me, and I think this is a good thing for you to try and do. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
You've got to go through that stuff.
Yeah.
Is it hard to go through those journeys without it being overly spiritual or religious? Like, I know that a lot of these programs, which you didn't do.
Yeah.
They are very
tied
much
to the church
Yeah.
and stuff.
Is it hard to, to dodge that when you want... Like, obviously, you did it.
I don't know.
Because
don't know.
you're headstrong enough to do it on your own, but some people aren't.
Yeah, and maybe let's take the word strong out, right? Because I reckon there's some really, really strong people that just like it and it's just for them. And like a lot of them, like I know that AA has ties to the church, but these people, people that I know that have done it or are doing it, they just choose not to like listen to the prayer bit at the end, you know? Like you can still compartmentalize what part of that information works for you and what doesn't, you know?
But have you noticed there's obviously a lot of people that have substance abuse issues and then they go all into fitness, which you've sort of done, because it's like an addictive thing.
It is, yeah. But good addiction.
Good addiction. But then a lot of people that go from substance abuse all into like Christianity because they found that. Right? There's celebrities that do it all the time. You look at Russell Brand has done that whole thing.
He fucking has,
right?
hasn't
There's
he?
a lot of people that do it, and on a smaller scale, people that are reasonably notable on socials or whatever. And you see, when did they become a raging Bible basher? But they did, right?
Yeah.
And that happens a lot, which just means like, are they addicted to that now?
Yeah. And do you know what though? I know the older I get, and because I'm on a bit of a spiritual journey myself, man, and like it's not a religious one, but it's very much connected to spirit. And I, the further I delve down that path, the more the less judgment I have for people that are on their own. And if that happens to be tied to religion, I'm like fucking so stoked for them. If they've found some kind of salvation in that faith, that's awesome. Like I reckon being faithful, whatever that means, is like the best thing to ever happen to me.
Yep.
And if someone else has found faith through, I don't know, the Bible, that's not for me personally, but I'm so fucking stoked for them.
So if you had to put a label on what you would say your faith or your spirituality is, what would you say it is?
Do you know what the Taoists say? The Tao that can be named is not the Tao. Okay. And the Tao is the yin yang. It's the everything. It's as soon as I start to name it, it's not the thing anymore.
Okay.
So I won't put a label on it purely for the reason of as soon as I would give it a name, it would vanish.
Okay. And there's
that's the Tao. That's the Tao flying around.
No, it's very interesting. What do you? And this is nothing to do with what we're talking about, but it kind
Here's a non sequitur, people.
No, but do you believe in like reincarnation, afterlife, any of that sort of stuff?
Man, it's a great question. All right, let's go there. Maloney. God damn it. Didn't mean to say God damn it. I believe, wow, my parents will probably listen to this and they're going to be like, I knew he was a crackpot. I believe that time is not non-linear. So like afterlife would imply that something's happening after this, but I reckon I think you and I are living the same existence simultaneously with everything, and life is not this compartmentalized thing of multiple things happening all at once, chaos. Life is beautiful unity all happening at once, and we just happen to be having two separate experiences of the same thing.
Okay.
And that would include our ancestors and people the next in our lineage of generations. I believe everything is all happening right now through different perspectives.
So time doesn't essentially exist.
That's right. It's a construct. There's only the present, which is everything.
Okay.
God, I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry, everybody.
No, I'm really interested in this.
I didn't sign up for this to talk about this, but here we are.
I'm interested. Like 15, 20 years ago, if someone sort of was talking about that stuff, I would have said, what are you talking about?
Right.
But as I get older and as I dive deeper into podcasts and just listening to people...
Podcasts will do it.
Too, you start to think, oh, maybe this is right. Does anything exist? I don't know. You don't like.
Have you ever experienced the future?
Well, we're living in the now, which the future is hard to experience. I don't know.
Have you ever experienced the past?
Yeah, but that was just the present.
It was the present, right? Yeah. So far, all we've got is the present. Ever.
Yeah.
Always.
That's true.
Okay, so we've established that. There's no time, at least. No. So now from an experiential perspective, I just feel like we're all atoms and particles made from the same thing initially.
Yeah.
And even dark matter, the dark matter that is between us is all the same thing. So it's just we have these little independent consciousness forming ego, which makes us believe that these sacks of bones are individual and separate from each other. But I actually believe we're all one thing. And here's where I'm going to sound like a real crackpot, but I think that thing is love.
Okay, I could see that you are somebody who would see that as somewhat the meaning of it all.
Yeah, 100%.
So when...
Even beyond meaning, it just is all.
Okay.
Is all.
So in this reality that we're living now with the sack of meat and the bones and everything, once we...
Which is the same reality. I'm not saying they're separate. I'm saying this is what it is.
Once our body, our sack of bones...
disintegrates.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does the spirit live on
Right. So I'm saying that, all right, energetically, every move that we ever make and every thought that we ever have and everything we ever do in this existence causes ripples. So far beyond our comprehension. But when somebody dies, energetically they are living on forever. And we are just the same wave of positive energy that existed long before us. It's just been rippling. It's one ripple. It's just one ripple like this, and it's just coming from the center of the universe, which is love, which is my segue to some music I'm creating.
Yes, tell us.
I'm about to put out my first solo EP.
Is it called Fuck the Fly Off?
It's called Love is the Center of the Universe, and I know that our friend The Fly agrees with me. He doesn't know that he agrees, but he's made of the same cosmic space dust that I am. So it's an EP. It's in my own name. It's not DJ Be Kind to Other People.
Okay.
It's called Love is the Center of the Universe.
Is there a reason why you chose not to do it in your DJ name?
Because I want the DJ name to keep the underground cred.
Okay.
It's the DJ name's still associated with Coburg Up Late, and I've got like great underground gigs with that. But this music that I'm making is like straight up like bubblegum pop music. Okay. Indie pop music. The first single could well be like an S Club 7 song.
Okay.
And it's called Everything is a Blessing.
You're singing?
I'm singing. I wrote all the music. I've co-produced it with Tom Evans from The Journey.
Yep.
He says g'day, by the way.
Hi.
Yeah. And we've got 3 more singles. I spent last year producing 2 music videos for the first 2 singles. I was just in Hyatt, which is about an hour up that way, halfway between here and Coburg, with Tom working on single number 3.
Oh, wow.
2 weekends ago, I was working on single number 4. So I should have everything all wrapped up, ready to go in the next month or 2. And we're going to start rolling out music videos and singles and a whole PR campaign. And I'm really excited because this has been probably 2.5 years in the works.
And you're calling it bubblegum pop almost.
Let's call it indie pop,
Okay.
but because it's independently produced. Like I feel like bubblegum pop is like manufactured and created by like a marketing team.
But if you put it in a genre, it's the poppy pop.
It sounds like that. Yeah. For
Okay.
sure.
Which is a departure from the old music you used to make.
With the Bareback Titty Squad, which
Indeed.
was more like punk mashup, sweaty, irreverent, silly.
In your jocks.
Yeah, that's right. But you know what? I've changed and my music's changed as well. And all of this music, you know, while we're on the spiritual bend, I felt like it's channeled through me. I saw a documentary last night. Chris Martin from Coldplay was talking about how a song came to him from that place where songs come from. Yep. He just used that so like it wasn't esoteric. It's just he just believes that they come from a place. It's like there's just a place and they come and knock on his head and say, "Excuse me, Mr. Martin, I have a song for you." And I've been experiencing that.
Yep.
And they've always come to me at really opportune times in my life. Everything is a Blessing, which is the first single. And just to give a little bit of context on the theme, it's not toxic positivity. It's that your greatest challenges are your greatest teachers as well.
Okay.
So everything, therefore, would be a blessing, this fly, I tell you what. I remember I was swimming laps at the Brunswick Baths. Shout out to Brunswick Baths. That is my place. That is my happy place. And I was like 2 kilometers in and I was feeling so amazing. I could feel the sun beating down on my back. I'm wearing my Speedos. I've got the endorphins flowing, or endolphins as I like to call them when I'm having a swim. Thank you. And this melody hit me while I was swimming. It literally, I swear, it like came down in one of the rays of the sun. And it just goes, "Everything is a blessing." And I'm like, damn, is that S Club 7 up there? Is that you? Is God S Club 7? And so for the rest of my swim, I started fleshing that out into a chorus and then into like a few more hooks, which have actually made their way into the final song. I like poured so much time, money, and energy into the production of this thing. It sounds so fucking awesome. And then I made this banging music video. We filmed it in every season of the year. I got these amazing backup dancers who are also the singers on the song. Shout out to Linda, Naomi, Jono, and also Brent, who sang on it. And we did this choreographed dance routine in Carlton Gardens out the front of the exhibition centre. And we did the same dance in 4 seasons. And I've edited it together, so you see the seasons changing behind us.
Awesome.
So like all of the leaves are changing, and suddenly it's raining, and suddenly we're dancing with umbrellas, and then it's like, you know, then it's nighttime, and then it's autumn, and it's this quite a spectacular thing. Season 2 is called, single 2 is called Whatever I Need, I Already Have, which is essentially a gratitude practice, which, you know, I mean, the music's coming to me because I want to make the world a better place, which is, we've already established this in season 1, and we all want to do it in some ways. I'm just like, my icky guy is I want to channel my skill set, which is creating art and probably reaching a large amount of people into positively influencing how they connect with themselves and other people. And so single number 2 came to me, which is Whatever I Need, I Already Have. I'm halfway through the Ironman. I'm doing my bike ride. I'm pissing down my leg. Did you know that triathletes do this?
Yeah.
Man, I just learned about this like the day before the Ironman. You don't get off your bike if you need to urinate. You just stand up and just let it run free, because you don't want to get off and then get back on, and then your lactic acid builds up. So I'm weeing down my leg. I'm on the Captain Cook Highway in Cairns. I've got the Daintree rainforest on my left. I've got the Pacific Ocean on my right, and I am just pinging. I've not felt this good since like 7 a.m. at Revolver 10 years ago. Yeah. And I go, whatever I need, I already have. And I'm like, damn, is that you, Bentley? You know? And this song came to me, and that's what got me through the next like 8 hours of the Ironman, was turning this hook into a song. So we recorded that with a band. I got this amazing piano player. Shout out to Adam Rudegier, who's the host of the jazz show on PBS. Mm-hmm. And my friend Josh Barber, who runs a studio out in Mollengip. And I just sent them both a demo that I recorded on an acoustic guitar. And I said, hey guys, can we catch up at Josh's studio in a couple of weeks and play this song as a 3-piece? So it kind of sounds like it's like a Ben Folds 5 like piano pop extravaganza.
Yep.
And the last song, which is called When I Was a Little Boy, I wrote during the Vipassana. And I obviously already shared with you that story about realizing that I am the way that I am, because when I was 5, I didn't think that I was enough. Mm-hmm. And I just really struggle not, like if something hits me, and in that case it really did, it really came to me, I really struggle not listening to that and doing something about that. In the Vipassana, you're not even allowed pens. You can't do anything, no reading and no writing.
Wow.
So like, I was just like, I just have to remember it. So like, that's in between meditations, I'd just be like fleshing out the lyrics and storing it up in here. And yeah, before long, I realized I had 4 really strong, authentic singles that felt like they came from a higher place. And I'll admit, fucking thematically sounds like fucking Christian pop music. It's not.
It's not.
It's not, but it's music from my heart.
Yeah.
And
you had to get it out.
I had to get it out. So, you know, Maloney, for my entire life, there's always been a big creative project on the go. For the last 5 years, it's been Coburg I played, and I feel like I'm transitioning into my next creative phase, and that's creating music that feels like it's coming, I don't want to say from a higher place, but I want to say music that is so authentically me, and it's designed to positively influence the way that people treat each other.
Man, amazing. So is that the start of your Callum Padgham project?
Yes.
So you'll do multiple EPs or full-length albums? Are they all going to be poppy?
Well,
you don't know where you're going.
I actually don't know, yeah. And like, so track 1, Everything is a Blessing, is the most poppy thing I have ever heard, let alone made. But like track 2 is more like, as I said, it's more like Ben Folds 5. Track 4, which is, When I Was a Little Boy, that's almost like an acoustic ballad. And there's 4 very, very different songs. And like, I listen to so much different music. I've been listening to metalcore lately. I'm like, fuck, I could make a metalcore tune. I've been writing some dance hooks. Like, I think people would be surprised that there's literally no dance music coming out of me right now, even though like I have this whole DJ Be Kind to Other People alias. So yeah, I'm not limiting myself to what kind of music it is. But the Callum Padgham project is, limitless, but the only thread that ties it together is A, my voice, sonically I mean, and B, my intention. Okay.
Man, it's not what I was expecting. Do you think DJ Be Kind to Other People will do a remix of any of these songs?
I love that. Funnily enough, they do. But DJ Be Kind to Other People sounds like, aesthetically, sounds like he sits in the same world as a guy that would make a song called Everything is a Blessing. DJ Be Kind to Other People doesn't know how to use producing software.
Oh.
So DJ Be Kind to Other People teams up with Tom Everins from The Journey to make anything remotely electronic.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So
Shout out to you, Tom, by the way. Thank you for your amazing work.
man, that's exciting. So that stuff's going to come out before you go. When's that coming out?
I reckon. So I was actually going to put it out on the first day of the year because I was just so ready. But the more people I've spoken to, they're just like, hold your cards close to you, especially because I've been working on it for so long. It'd be a shame to just put it out and then that's all. So I'm in the process of like shopping it around, chatting to distributors, managers, agents, producers, just getting the lay of the land. I mean, I've never done anything like this. As you know, I've played in a touring 3-piece punk rock band, and we were signed with Premier Artists, and we had this really unique career, but it was so different to like putting out your own songs, especially in 2025. We were doing that in 2015. You know, it was musically, the industry was in a really different space. So I'm holding my stuff close to my chest. I didn't think I was going to be talking about this today, but I also didn't think I'd be divulging what came up during my fucking Vipassana. So
why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess with the pop avenue, it does really, from a distribution point of view, it opens up a lot of different, lanes that a lot of people making music don't even think of because they don't make pop music.
Yeah, totally. And that's why I also don't want to think too much further ahead than making these 4 particular songs, right? Because you don't know what doors that might open. And I also just want to circle back because I probably have to go pretty soon. Yeah, cool. I just want to circle back to last thing. Oh, yeah, this is a great way to tie the whole fucking thing together.
Okay.
I don't make art for any other reason but to enjoy making art. And if anything else comes on top of that, it's a bonus.
The success, the whatever the numbers are, doesn't matter. You made it for you. Yeah,
and man, it took me many years to get there for sure. And there's obviously still moments where I find myself slipping into old thought patterns, which would be like, oh, if I change this slightly, it'll appeal to more people on TikTok or something like that. But it's like, that's not why I make art. So actually, let me rephrase earlier. My North Star, my goal, is to make art for the sake of making art and enjoy living a happy creative lifestyle with happy creative people. Sometimes I deviate from that because that is the habit pattern that I grew up in, but that is my goal, and I think that should be all of our goal, is that we should be creating because we love it, and it's clear that you're doing the same thing. And
don't compromise.
Do not compromise, folks. That's it.
If you compromise, only do it in an artistic way, that if it's with someone that you're working with or whatever, but don't compromise to what you think the audience want, because if you do that, then you're not staying true to yourself.
Well, that's it, man. And you could argue well, why are you making pop music then? Because pop music is by definition, it's for a very, very large popular demographic. But to that, I would say, I actually want this message that everything is a blessing and that love is the center of the universe to hit the largest amount of people possible. Now, that's not because I want to be popular. That's because I want the largest amount of people to revolutionize the way they see the world.
There you go. Cal, man, do you have to go right now?
Pretty soon, yeah.
Okay, well, before we wrap it up, can you tell us, you did your 24-hour DJ stint.
Yes, did you see that?
Can you tell us a little bit about that before we wrap it up? Because I can't not ask about that.
Yeah, dude. Oh, man, that was one of the best days of last year. Two best days of last year. The Ironman. It was an incredible 15-hour celebration. But the true endurance event was a 24-hour DJ set, which I streamed from the Thickest Thieves studio, just around the corner from the Inkerman Hotel.
Is it? Is that where it is?
Very, very close there in Balaclava, or St Kilda East there.
Yep.
Shout out to Mike Toner, a very dear friend of mine, and new dad as well to young Noah Toner. And Thickest Thieves, his amazing touring agency, they've been doing for the last 6 or 7 years the Quickest Thieves electronic music industry fun run to raise money for Fred Hollows. Fred Hollows is a charity which restores the gift of sight to people in the third world with preventable blindness and cataracts disease. It's incredibly efficient bang for your buck. For $25, you can restore the eyesight for one person. So Mike Toner started this initiative where he got many DJs in Melbourne, and now many DJs and producers from all around Australia and the whole electronic music industry running, which is the opposite of what they'd normally be doing. Now they're getting up to run around Albert Park at 6 a.m. instead of walking home from Revolver at 6 a.m.
Yep.
And he gets them all to raise money to reach out to their networks. And DJs have large social networks because that's just part of what they do. You should have put your phone on silent then, mate.
I should. I don't even know where it is. I was looking for it for the time. I don't know where it is.
Don't tell me you've done this 139 times with your phone on silent. And raising money for Fred Hollows, which I think is so awesome. So I got involved with them about 4 or 5 years ago. And in the 3 years that I've done it, I've personally raised $50,000 for Fred Hollows.
That's amazing, man.
Thank you. And that's because I have really, really generous, beautiful friends and followers and supporters and family supporting me. So thank you so much if you're watching this. And even if you haven't donated, thank you for watching this far and thank you for supporting me. I really appreciate that. And so this year, because I have my brain is quite geared towards marketing as well. So I was like, okay, I need to change it up each year. Year 1, I dressed up as a fairy and I was like, if I raise $4,200, for every $100 I'll raise, I'll run a portion of the marathon. I'll run 1 kilometre in this tutu dressed as a fairy. And so if I raise $4,200, 42 kilometres dressed as a fairy. So I raised like $8,000 and did the whole marathon as a fairy, doing shout outs into my phone. And so I had to get creative for the 3rd year I did it. And so I was like, I'll do a 24-hour DJ set.
Yeah.
I don't know fucking why. It just felt like from a marketing perspective, that's going to get people talking.
Yeah.
And it did. We had like 800 people tune in from all over the world.
Amazing.
And I raised $23,500.
That's awesome, man.
And DJ for 24 hours, and it was so fucking fun.
Yeah.
Like had heaps and heaps of people tuning in.
What's the world record? Is it like 48 hours or something?
Yeah, it's like heaps. And there's a guy in Sydney that did it, and then he had his record revoked because they found out he was smoking meth. Of course he was.
Yeah.
So I'm really proud to say that I actually just packed like protein bars and had like 3 coffees.
Yeah.
And like someone that was tuning in sent me some KFC at some point as well.
KFC?
Yeah, which is not sustainable. Don't do that. But I brought some healthy food as well. But yeah, that was really intense, but like quite an amazing experience. And like there was this unshakable feeling that myself and the people that were tuning in, like at any given moment, there were like up to 60 people watching and like commenting, and I was interacting with them, had the microphone plugged in. We were all going through something really special and unique. Yeah. And so like I will always remember the last 2 hours of just like, oh my God, it's actually happening. Like there was a big lull in the middle of the night where someone was requesting I play like hard techno. So like, it was like, it gets to midnight. I started at 7 a.m. Friday, finished at 7 a.m. Saturday. It gets to like midnight and I was like so fucking cooked and started playing hard techno. And I think all of the jumping around and the loud music and the fact that I'd been already going for like 14 hours or something. My maths is way off. Don't count that. I like totally cooked it, and I went and there isn't a shower there, but I went and bathed in one of the in like the bathroom sink, and just like luckily bought a change of clothes and came back and brought a stool there, and everybody in the chat's like, you should really look after yourself, and you know you can just sit down, or if you need to leave the stream, we understand. I'm like, wow, that's so beautiful. Yeah. So their support got me through it. Then the last 4 hours, like people started waking up, or because it was the middle of the night, people were watching in like Amsterdam and stuff, and
nice.
keeping me company while it was like, you know, the middle of their work day.
Amazing.
Which was really cool. And so they kind of kept me going through the night, and then it started picking up again with the last hour to go, and I was playing the music I fucking love. Do you know what I did not compromise, Maloney? Just to go back to that, the music. 24 hours of just like, I'm really proud of that set. Awesome. It was a sick set. Like it was awesome music, and I wasn't curtailing it for anybody. Yep. So that last hour was like a pure joyous celebration of like deep, progressive, banging, beautiful house music that I love. And then it gets to 23 hours, 59 minutes, and everyone's, the comments for the last hour is, what's he going to close with? What's he going to close with? And I echo out Eric Prid's Mellow, and there's this moment of silence, and then I look up at everybody, and there's 20 seconds to go, and I hit play on Bill Withers' Lovely Day. Oh, nice. Because it had been a lovely 24 hours, and it was like, I mean, you can't hear anybody cheer, you're just seeing a chat, but everybody lights up, woo, you've done it! And like I looked, and we'd raised almost $24,000, which was the goal, and yeah, it was one of the most special days of my life. And then I had to pack up all of my equipment, drive back home, lay in bed for an hour. It was so wide I couldn't sleep. Alarm goes off. Had to go and DJ a wedding.
Wow. That's commitment to the craft, man.
That's it, baby.
Man, I'll let you... Speaking of commitment to the craft, you've got to get to your gig down the road.
Yeah, let's see what are we looking at? Yeah, cool. We're just on time.
Okay, all right. Well, man, I appreciate you coming in, and let's come back and let's have another chat before you go overseas. We can talk about your journey with the music you're putting out. and we can talk about where you're going, because we haven't had long to have a catch up yet.
No, and you know, what'd be cool is maybe we could do it when I get back.
Okay, that'd be better, yeah.
Well, because then it's like, so did you die?
Yeah, let's do that. So that'll be about September?
Yeah, that's it, man.
Okay, well, I'm penciling you in now for September. DJ, be kind to other people, a.k.a. Callum Padgham. Thanks for coming. Thanks for being the first ever guest, and thanks for being guest number 141.
Thanks, Maloney. And can I also say, I just want to reiterate where we started again. I'm so fucking proud of you for what you've pulled off here. And I'm so grateful to have been a part of this journey. And I'm so excited for what you've got coming up. And I love you, bro, because that is all there is.
That's all about love. Come on. Thank you, bro. Cheers, man. I appreciate it.
Love you, man.
You too, dude. Oh, that was awesome. Thank you.
All right, I'm out of here. Fuck you. No.